For us today. I want to thank you for attending this webinar. And without any further ado, I want to hand the virtual mic on over to Marcia. We will be recording this webinar here shortly, so we will be sending that out to all attendees coming out later this week. Thanks so much. Marcia, take it away.
Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? Excellent. All right. So welcome to the Healthy Futures training. Before we start, we have a quick little survey. If you please would take a little pre-training survey. And just let me know when you're done.
Marcia, can you drop that link into the chat?
Yes. Yeah. And when you're done, if you could just indicate it in the chat, or you could do a thumbs up, that'd be great. Great, thank you. Others done? Okay. Okay, great. So we are kind of a small group, so I don't know if you could either put it in the chat or you could like unmute yourselves, but I'd love to get to know you, what you do, and what brings you here. What brings you to this webinar on alternative to suspension programs? Who would like to start?
We can start with Gavin and then move into Mr. Huntington and finish up with Stephen.
All right. My name is Gavin Santillan. I'm a teacher specialist here at Pomona Unified School District. I'm a 2P coordinator as well. That's one of the programs that I work with. We do have Healthy Futures listed as one of our alternatives to suspension, that one and Y-Vape, as well as an in-house program we have as a first offense. So we do implement it at the schools. We have counselors at some schools doing it, administrators at other schools. Yeah, it's kind of a wide variety.
Great. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Good afternoon, nice to meet you. Sorry, I'm a bit under the weather. My name is Huntington Wu. I'm a he, him, his. I'm a school counselor at a small charter school, James Jordan Middle School. I can come here due to looking for we do have like programs that we are able to provide students for as an alternative suspension for students caught with substances. However, there are times in which like they're caught in such a timely moment, there isn't time to set up with the current ones we have, so I'm always looking for new ones, and here I am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Lizardo. I'm a clinician working at Vista Del Mar. We're currently going to open a SETS program, and we'll be collaborating with that program. And so the program director that's currently heading the program would like everyone to have basic knowledge. And so we were introduced to the research lab through that program director. So we're here to learn as much as we can and support our new program that will be established within the next few months.
Great. Well, great. Wonderful to meet you all. I'm glad you're here. A little bit about me. My name is Marcia Sordilla, and I'm the Healthy Futures Curriculum Director, primary trainer. I'm also a health educator by training. I used to work in a teen clinic at a high school for 25 years, and I'm also a almost certified alcohol and drug counselor as well. So I have a lot of experience working with youth, and also was working in the high school environment. So I'm happy to provide any type of support for you all as you get your programs going, or if you have any questions. Just a shout out to our sponsors and make this training available to you all for free. So this is kind of like our goals for today. So we're going to talk a little bit about interventions and traditional discipline models, and do like a deep dive into the healthy futures and a little bit on the data dashboard, and take a little break before we do the live walkthrough. And I encourage you all to kind of follow along on your laptops, and then to go over any questions you may have. So the REACH Lab stands for Research and Education to Empower Adolescents and Young Adults to Choose Health. And the way we do that is through education, developing curriculum, doing research on our curriculum, advocacy, and also mentoring future researchers in adolescent and young adult health. This is an image of all the different people that work in the research lab. Dr. Bonnie Helpman-Felcher is the professor and the PI of the lab, the director of the REACH lab. And we have postdocs. I'm part of the curriculum team, so we have a nice curriculum team. We have research folks as well. We have graphic designers, which is really unusual for a department within the medical school. We have a public health lawyer, and we have two providers. One is a psychiatrist, the other is an adolescent medicine doctor. So those are the main folks that make up the REACH lab. And then we have this amazing group of young people. They are high school and college age students. They make up the Stanford REACH Lab YAB, or Youth Action Board. And it's an internship program, hybrid internship program. And what they do is that they provide us with advice. They help us with content development. They tell us what's happening in their world, and really are the eyes and ears of what's happening when it comes to substance use. And so super, super lucky to work with an amazing group of people all throughout, not just in California, but throughout the states as well. In case you don't know us, we have other curriculums. So I just wanted to share that we also have prevention curriculum if you're interested. So we have tobacco prevention curriculum called You and Me Together Vape Free, and for all grade levels. We also have cannabis prevention. all grade levels again. We have safety first. It's a comprehensive drug education curriculum, harm reduction for high school students. And then today, of course, we're going to be talking about healthy features. So if you'd like, you could scan the QR code so that you can access our resources. So we're going to talk a little bit about why do alternative to suspensions, why are they important? And so what we need to do is kind of go back in time in terms of what is the history, the origins of drug-based suspensions and expulsion. And having worked in a school, I can tell you that it started around the time that I started working in a school in around 1994, when it was intended as a response to serious offenses, so mostly weapons, to ensure safe and healthy schools. But then what happened was that it was applied to other areas, including tobacco use. And so what we know is that when we suspend students, it typically does not rehabilitate them and it doesn't support them to change their behavior. This is a great article. If you're interested, the references down there, but this talks about what happens to young people when they are constantly exposed to punitive responses. So there's lower educational attainment, due in part because of lower income or barriers to accessing healthcare. There's that repeated stress of always being suspended, leading to psychological distress. And then finally, the stigma that's associated with being suspended, leading to self-harm and coping mechanisms like using drugs. So there is evidence for why alternatives to suspension programs work. And so I wanted to ask you all, since it is a small group, imagine you have a youth, or maybe you already work with a youth who has been suspended. What usually happens to that person? What happens to that particular youth? You could put it in the chat or you could unmute. So the youth is found using, they're suspended, then what happens? What's the trajectory of that youth? After suspension, what happens? They go home and use more drugs? Yes. Grades fail, right? And then when grades fail, they come back to school, right? There's no coaching. It's good. They feel like they messed up and stop caring. Yes, absolutely. So it's really hard for them to catch up. So it really just makes it very, very difficult to catch up on schoolwork. Why bother? And so this is something that I saw when I was working at the high school. I also worked in juvenile hall. So I would see the student would get suspended. They would try to catch up. It was really difficult to catch up. And then they would get in trouble and then they would wind up in juvenile hall. So it just gets worse and worse for them. And someone here said about there's eventually they get expelled. And so what the research shows is that this type of discipline that we do does not get to the root causes of why they're using, and it certainly doesn't help them or motivate them to quit. So what this requires is for us to have a more restorative practice or switching that mindset of a punitive to a more restorative discipline. So when we talk about restorative practice, what we're talking about is an approach to building community and addressing conflict that emphasizes repairing harm rather than punishing wrongdoing. So this is also a really great reference, and I highly encourage you all to look at this article. That really kind of gives you written by teachers, really gives you a really great overview of restorative practices. And again, when we talk about restorative practices, we're talking about focusing on relationship building, accountability, reflection, making amends, and then the whole goal of restoring trust, respect, and sense of belonging. The one that I want to kind of point out to in terms of the punitive discipline is anger. So many times students would tell us, and I worked in the clinic, that teachers seem angry at them. And so that is a way for us to kind of like, let's think about what that means and what that looks like to a youth and how that makes the youth feel, even though they may not be angry, but they seem angry. So kind of like switching or flipping that mindset to one of understanding, where they're more gentle and they're showing more understanding when students are misbehaving. So why is it that teens use drugs? So let's look at the continuum of drug use. So when you're either in a classroom or you're working with a group of students, you're going to see that youth fall under the continuum of use, but they're going to be anywhere and everywhere. And it could change too, depending on the substance. So it could be that maybe they've never used alcohol, but they are experimentally using vaping, or they could be doing recreational weed. So it kind of changes, and it's going to really depend on the person. But that's just this is just to illustrate just the vast the wide range of where people are when it comes to substance use. And then in terms of what are the decisions that the youth make when it comes to substance use? Well, so the way we think of it is thinking about the benefits and what are the risks, or what are the perceived benefits and what are the perceived risks, because there are real and perceived benefits to using. So let's kind of talk about that in a little bit more detail. So why do people use substances in general? So what are the benefits of using tobacco as an example? So what are some benefits that young people say to you about why they like to use tobacco? You could put your answer in the chat, or you could unmute yourself.
Because it relieves their stress.
Release their stress. Mm-hmm.
Makes them look cool.
Makes them look cool. Yeah. Popularity. Yep. Peer influence. Sure. Yeah. So it could help with sleep. Sure. So it could be for some youth, it tastes good. They like the buzz. It's like some people were saying, and makes them feel cool. It's accepted in the family. Yeah, sure. And it could also, when we look at cannabis, it could be, that youth like the feeling. For them, some people might. Someone told me once that smoking weed is like it really broadens and opens up their mind, like to what they're like deep thinking with weed. And so it could be that kind of an experience, breaking from painful connections, and they might be using to address mental health concerns. So there's a lot of other factors too. Talk about how there's flavors, especially when we're talking about nicotine. It's all of these substances are easy to hide, and the marketing is really intense for young people, and the access as well. And then there's a lot of misperceptions too on substance use. There's stress, and then in terms of there are other factors too. Whether or not we're talking about um, economic situations, or we're talking about employment or other well-being factors. All those play into why they use substances. And like someone said earlier, peers are really important. There's this perception that everyone is doing it, and even saying no is really hard. And so what we need to do is talk to teens about how to resist these pressures that they're feeling. And then to remind ourselves too that there are potential risks for them when it comes to saying no. So when we talk about our all our different curriculums, so we're coming from a person-centered or very client-centered drug education. So it's based on how adolescents make decisions and how they learn. It's based on facts. We want to give them facts, not scare tactics. We want to keep them safe overall and empower them to make informed decisions. And we want to meet them where they're at, because that's really important. So if there's doesn't sound like this is a an issue with people in this room, but if there's a school district or a school that hasn't used this type of a program, any type of alternative to suspension program, and they're contemplating it, it may take some work. So this is just some guidelines, showing the literature, like what I was showing earlier, the numbers, providing evidence, doing evaluations together, really educating your school and the community, and then discussing the cost effectiveness of suspension versus education and treatment. So now we'll be doing a dive into the healthy futures. And so with all of our curriculum, everything that we do is really based on partnerships. So we definitely look to you all in ways of how to improve our curriculum, giving us some feedback. And we also have the YAB. And so the YAB, they're the ones also giving us feedback and also helping us with developing content as well. Everything that we provide is evidence informed and evidence based. We fact check everything. We have the ability to revise pretty quickly. We rely on theory and research, and that is for all of our curriculum. So the Healthy Futures is for youth that have been found using either cannabis or nicotine. And it's also for youth that may be interested in quitting, reducing their use. The Healthy Future uses principles of motivational interviewing, stages of change, and cognitive behavioral therapy. You do not need to be a therapist to do Healthy Futures. We just touched on those different principles within the Healthy Futures. So for all the Healthy Futures, be it nicotine or cannabis, we have these same 4 components. We're always going to talk about the brain, the health effects, the cost, and then wellness. So within the Healthy Futures, we have 2 versions of it. We have something called My Healthy Futures and Our Healthy Futures. And I'm going to explain what that means in a moment. So kind of want to discuss how it's been used or what we recommend. So the first time that they are found using is to implement the My Healthy Futures. And then the second time that they're found using is to offer the Our Healthy Futures, which is a group intervention. And then if they're found the third time is to consider whatever other brief intervention that you do at your school, be it, teen intervene or seeking safety. So let's kind of do a introduction to the My Healthy Future. So this is a self-paced course. It's takes about 40, 60 minutes for students to do on their own. And it has slides, it has activities, and it looks like a video game. And this is actually one of the YAB came up with this idea to kind of do an overhaul of our My Healthy Futures to make it look like a game, even though it isn't a game, but it looks like a game. So it has that real game feel. So you would assign the course to the student, and then you provide them with the URL, and there's a teacher ID, which is a code that you would get through the data dashboard, and I'll show you what that looks like, so that they can complete the pre and post surveys. And then they take the course. So it's really important that they have to complete the entire course in one sitting. It does not save the course. You could assign it in school, or you could assign it as homework if they are able to do it at home. And so this is what it looks like. The teacher code is on the left, and so then they would enter that for the pre and the post surveys. This is the cover sheet of what the My Healthy Futures looks like. So that they would put their name in there, and then that teacher code that I just showed you that you would get when you sign up in the data dashboard, that would go right in. This is just an example of one of the slides, and I'll show you this when we do our navigation so we can see what it looks like. So it has a very Instagram feel to it because they look like Instagram posts. And then this is the Healthy Futures Handbook. So you're going to see this. This is actually, I would say that the handbook is the centerpiece of the Healthy Futures. We have this in the My Healthy Futures and in the group Healthy Futures as well. So this is something that they're going to be doing, using throughout the course. Ooh, sorry, my earbuds was just coming off. We have these knowledge check questions that go nowhere. We're not collecting information. Oh, Huntington, you have a question.
Yes, Marcia, question. Are you sharing your screen right now? Just checking.
What's that?
Are you sharing your screen right now?
I thought I was.
Yes,
Um,
I can see the screen. You might have at the top of your Zoom, there's two different tabs, meeting and Marcia's screen. You might be on the meeting tab instead of the sharing screen
oh,
tab.
got it. Yeah, I saw that one. Sorry, my bad.
Okay. So this is so throughout the course, we have these questions that are embedded in the course that go nowhere. They're more for the youth to be able to engage with them. So these are knowledge check questions, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And then when they're done with the course, they're going to get a certificate of completion, and that is going to go to you, and then you'll be able to give it to the youth. This is just kind of showing you what it would look like in the data dashboard. So if that was you, then as a teacher, these are your schools, and it tells you who completed the course. So kind of like a little recap. So things to do before you start is just to have the URL ready for them. And whatever course you're going to be picking, the My Healthy Futures, the cannabis or the nicotine, then signing up on the data dashboard, having that ID ready for them. And then we have other things too that we're going to talk about when I show you. We have a worksheet that is for you to fill out when you do the follow-up with them. And we have quitting tips as well. So this is just a kind of like another kind of more the step-by-step. So again, assigning them the course. They could either do a screenshot of the Healthy Futures Handbook, or they could print it or save it. They're going to get the certificate from you. They start the course, they're going to do the pre and the post, and then everything's going to show up on your data dashboard. So the follow-up piece is meeting. It will be. It will be printed out at the end, yes.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I haven't been able to print out the entire handbook. It's just been the two sections. I think what you have up there, the plan and
Yes,
momentum, but the other
yes.
parts aren't able to be printed out.
No. So all of the things that is everything that they were typing in the handbook should be there in that purple box that I have right here, because what they're doing, and I could show you in the next slide, is that they are answering the questions for each of the different components that we talked about, the 4 components. So whatever they typed in these boxes, it's going to go straight in here. So you're going to see for example, under benefits of stars, you're going to see the ones that they did for the brain health, wellness, and cost. So you're going to see them. So you'll see. You're not going to miss anything. Everything should be in there when they do that. It's really going to be based on what they themselves type, which is really important. And I'll show you what that looks like. If they don't fill it out, it's not going to get. It's going to look blank. So they have to fill it out. They
Right.
have to type.
I think there's other sections that don't get printed out though, right? Other writing sections. I mean, like the actual handout or handbook that's printed out has 2 sides to it and has more sections, but those aren't printed out at the end.
No. So what's printed out is going to be the plan, and then everything that they wrote is going to be captured, and it's going to go right there to that purple screen that you see. That's all that's going to be printed out.
So just for clarification, what's going to be printed out is one of the 2 pages that they're supposed to complete.
Everything that they type in will be printed out.
Correct, but
And
there's 2
you're,
pages, and only one of those pages are printable.
when you say 1 page, what do you mean? I think I'm not understanding what you mean.
Well, the printout, the handbook that you print out beforehand has 2 pages to it. But when they finish the actual program, it only prints out 1 page. So we don't know if they've done the other page.
Oh, I see what you're asking. So everything that it's being captured in the program. So I know what you mean, that you're saying that the double-sided page of the actual Healthy Futures Handbook, that sheet, it's already captured in that program. So what you see, that purple, that's everything should be in there. All the responses that they responded to will be there. That's not what you're seeing?
I don't think so. I think because there's 2 pages, but the purple that you're saying the students will fill out is only one of those 2 pages. So you're saying that all of their responses that they type in will be printed, but they're only doing one of 2 of the pages.
Yeah, so as far as I know, when they work on the 4 different components within the My Healthy Futures, whatever they type in there, it is all going to go, and it will go to that one page that you see right here. It's all consolidated into that 1 page. So I could show you an example when we get to the navigation, but everything that they are typing is going to turn up at the very end. I know that the paper has 2 sides, but everything is being captured, and it's in that screenshot that I'm showing you. Okay, so the other way that the other part of the follow-up is to do the where are you at worksheet, and I'll show you where that is, but you'll find it right underneath the My Healthy Futures where it says following up with your student. So they would fill that out, and then you would review it together with them. And so that kind of takes care of the My Healthy Futures. Are there other questions about it before I continue? Okay, and so now we're going to do Our Healthy Futures. And so this is more of this is a small group setting. So we have 2 versions of this. We have a 2-hour and a 4-hour. And so the 2-hour, and some people are using this as a kind of a 1-to-1, but you could do it in a small group. I've heard of schools using this 25 students, like in the morning, to do Healthy Futures. So in terms of how to implement this, it could be that you may want to do your small group at lunchtime, or you may want to do it after school or in the morning, if that's something that works for you in your schedule, or it could be during advisory. So the reason for creating the 4-hour was for Saturday school suspension. So some schools do Saturday school suspension. So this was a way for students to be able to do something during that time. So that could be an option, but for the most part, most schools use the 2-hour Our Healthy Futures. We have a facilitator guide that kind of walks you through the course, and I'll show you what that looks like. And this is the handbook that you will be using in the Our Healthy Futures. And I'll show you where that is. And then we have the Where Are You At worksheet. So we have 2. We have a kind of like a pre and a post. So The part one is the one that you're going to administer the first time you meet with them. And then at the very end, you're going to do part two.
Quick question. That slide you
Yes.
had, the slide you had before, can you go back to that?
Yes.
So that one shows wellness and your brain. I'm still confused. I'm trying to figure out because I'm looking at the handbook as well, and it has wellness, next steps, your brain, cost, your plan, health
Right.
effects, making your
Yeah.
momentum. So that there's a lot
So
of questions into those. So where do those get logged in?
So they're going to get logged in when they go through the course, and they're going to be going through. Are you talking about the My Healthy Futures or the Our Healthy Futures?
The My Healthy Futures.
They're going to, when they get to the different components, that's where they're going to log it in.
Okay,
So right now,
because your handbook looks different than my handbook.
yeah, I know I totally understand what you're saying to me. This is just one page. It's double-sided. So I'll show you where that is, and that's where the two-pager that you're talking about are double-sided, but the different components that you're seeing here, the wellness, your brain, the cost, all of that are components they're going to be doing when they do the My Healthy Futures. And so they're going to be typing it in. And then at the end, all of that is captured. And that's that screenshot that I was showing you. So you don't have to worry about all of those sheets or anything like that, because it's already captured in the program. Okay, so I'll just kind of move on to the next thing here. Okay, so just some kind of quick tips. So want to review the facilitator guide, and you'll see that the facilitator guide has talking points. And so it's going to tell you about all these different materials that you need and to print out and have ready. And so printing copies of the Healthy Futures Handbook and the assessments. We have letters that you could print out and let parents know that they are participating in Healthy Futures. We have it in English and in Spanish. And then for Our Healthy Futures, we use Canva slides. So this is just information on how to create a Canva account if you're unfamiliar with it. Almost everybody, I think by now, knows how to use Canva. It's very popular. And in terms of using the curriculum, so we don't share the slides. We ask you to make a copy, and we ask also that if you do make a copy, not to remove or change any of the logos. This is what I was speaking to you all earlier about the data dashboard and how to get that teacher code. And so it is through the data dashboard, and I'll show you where that is. You can't miss it because it's everywhere in all the curriculum. So it's the very first thing that kind of pops up asking for you all to do the data dashboard. And so that's what the teacher code looks like. And then the youth is going to enter it so that they could then do their pre and their post. Okay, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break so that we could, we're going to do a walkthrough, and when we come back, I'll put the link in the chat, and then we'll kind of do a walkthrough and kind of follow all the different healthy features that we offer, the My and the Hour. So let's see, we will be back at 4:18. All right, great. Thank you. All right. So welcome back. And so what I did is I put the link in the chat how to access the lab. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you just fine.
Okay.
Yep.
It's not working. Okay, this is my little technology. I love it. Okay, so this is the home page of the lab. So over here to the left, it's like a bunch of tabs and things like that. And then here's prevention and intervention, which is the one that you're going to want to look at. And so here are all the curriculum. So if you want to do Healthy Futures, it's right here. And then I'll put it in the chat for you all. Okay. And so let's take a look at the My Healthy Futures. And so here, right away, you see the data dashboard. So if you don't have a teacher code, this is where you would go. So I'm just going to kind of quickly just show you how it looks. Here is it explains it to you. There's a brief little training, and then kind of like how to get started. And so you're going to say that you're a teacher, and then you're going to register. So you just register, and then you get an account, and it'll give you that teacher code. And so that's what you're going to give to your students.
Marcy, if I could just interject for a second there, I do just want to reiterate that if you're an administrator who is going to be also facilitating Healthy Futures, that you register as a facilitator, as an administrator. And then you can always get your teacher code after the fact. But if you register just as a teacher, then you won't be able to see school-wide data and things of that nature.
So you would want to do both so that you could get that teacher code.
Correct.
You want to do, so for the administrator role, so whatever that is, you're also a teacher, so make sure to click that so you get that code. So anyway, so that's you could kind of watch the video on your own on how to get your teacher code, but that's something that you're going to see pop up everywhere throughout all the different curriculums that we have, is that data dashboard. Okay, so if we go back to the My Healthy Futures, so there it is again. And so I'm going to show you a couple of things within the kind of like the home page. So things to get started, registering again on the data dashboard. And here is the facilitator guide. You would have to go back. So someone asked if you registered as an administrator and did not check off the box, you would need to contact us so that we could reset it. So facilitator guide. So I'm gonna you're welcome. So I'll show you what that looks like. So this is for the My Healthy Futures. You don't really need too much information per se, not as much as the Our Healthy Future, which is a much more intensive, but it kind of gives you like a little bit more information on, how, kind of like what we already talked about in the slides, what it is, who's it for, principles of motivational interviewing, that kind of thing, restorative practice lens, trauma-informed lens, how it's being used in Articulate. And so here is the Healthy Futures Handbook. You don't need the Healthy Futures Handbook. You could look at it. We're not going to look at it right now. We're going to look at it when we do Our Healthy Futures, but we're going to look at the Articulate version of the Healthy Futures. And then we even have a video on how to fold it. So having the physical paper version for the My Healthy Future is completely optional. You do not need to give that to the youth. This is just to preview the course. Registering again the data dashboard, how to do the follow-up. We have quitting tips. So the quitting tips you're going to actually find back the homepage. So if you go to the Reach Lab, you'll see here under resources and infographics, you will see quitting tips, and you'll see it for nicotine and you'll see it for cannabis. These are also Canvas slides. We're actually going to be we're changing kind of the format of this in a little bit more to be more like of an infographic. But for right now, these are available as Canvas slides, and we also have them in Spanish. You can click down here if you want to see them in Spanish. We have the cost calculator, so that they're going to be using this when they get to that cost component. So the cost of vaping or the cost of cannabis. You don't have to be in Healthy Futures to access any of these materials. Anybody could access these materials. So let's see. So let's go. So we look at that. And so here's that follow-up that I was talking about. So when you do your follow-up with them, this is the Healthy Futures follow-up form. And so having them fill this out, you keep this. We don't actually need any of this. This is for you. And having a discussion with them as far as how ready are they now when it comes to substance use, where are they when it comes to changing their nicotine use, if they want to quit or they want to cut back, and then what are some goals that they have for the next 21 days, what kind of help do they need, and who are the support people that can help them out. So this is done at that follow-up appointment that I was talking about. Okay, so this is in English, and if you needed in other languages, so we have it in Spanish. And so let's take
Welcome to My Healthy Futures. We're glad you're here. The nicotine
So-
version of My Healthy Futures you are doing today is designed to help you quit or cut back on your nicotine use and or make decisions to help keep you healthy.
I'm not sure if you can,
During the course, you will need to complete
Do you
all
hear the
parts of each
voiceovers?
slide and the entire lesson to receive credit. Please
Marcia,
begin
we're
by
no longer seeing
name
your
the
screen
teacher's
being
code
shared.
in the boxes on the screen. If you do not have a
Okay.
code, please ask your
We can
teacher.
hear it though.
You can hear.
If you're doing My Healthy Futures for support to quit, or because a parent or friend suggested it, you do not need to fill in the teacher code section.
Okay, so this is new. So we now have voiceovers. So that was something that was that was something that was asked for us to include voiceovers. So we now have voiceovers for the.
Before getting started, please complete the pre-survey, which can be accessed by clicking the red button on the screen.
So the pre-survey is here. What I want to do is I'm going to go continue. To try to continue.
Throughout this course, there are several different items that will earn you points. You will earn a sword with each slide you progress through, a diamond with each video completed, and a star for completing the course. You can also track your progress at the top left of the screen. By clicking the loot, you will learn about the 3 main topics covered in this curriculum. Please take a moment to do so now.
But they get to read what's underneath the loot.
Okay, let's begin by talking about what it means to be addicted to substances such as nicotine.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through one of the components that I was talking about, because there are 4. So we're going to do one and show you what that looks like.
As I am sure you know, some people have never used nicotine. Some have used it a few times, and some are dependent. In other words, everyone falls somewhere on what is called the continuum of use. Which point on the continuum best describes you?
What do you
Please be honest with your answers. This is the best way for us to guide you.
Okay, so of course I can't lower the volume, otherwise I can't hear you. But what in terms of the continuum of use, what do you think a youth is going to click on? What do you think they're going to click on? You can take a wild guess.
Probably misuse or recreational use.
No?
Yeah, it could be that they check recreational, so they get to see has engaged with the substance in a social setting for enjoyment, or it could be that somebody said experimental, trying something out. So it could be either or. So let's say that they're experimental, so they may click on that. So this, as I was saying, is just a way to engage them with the material. It's not something that we're collecting. So we'll go to the next slide.
The first section of this course will cover the effects of nicotine on the brain. Before diving in, please write your answers to the questions on the screen in the corresponding text boxes below. Once you have finished, be sure to click outside of the box to continue.
Okay, so this is the Healthy Futures Handbook, and this is just one component. And so this is just the pre-test, or I'm calling the pre-test, but it's before they actually get to the content, right? So what they're going to do is they need to type in there, so at the very end, when there's they could either do a screenshot, like I was saying, which is what I was showing you in purple, or they can do a PDF. And it's all 4 components. So I know it may not seem like it's all being captured, but every single component is being captured in that every time that they are answering the questions here, it's all being captured, and that is the only thing that is being captured, and it's going to be in that that screenshot that I was showing you earlier, or in the PDF that the youth will have. So let's see. So what do you think the youth is going to answer to that to this question? How does vaping usually make your brain feel? What do you think they're going to say? I'll wait and I'll type in some answers.
It makes my brain feel lighter.
Makes my brain feel lighter,
I'm sleepier in the chat.
sleepier. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, what do you think are some downsides to vaping for your brain? What do you think they're going to say to that?
I'm slower.
Okay, I'm slower. Anything else?
I'm lazy.
I have to vape often to keep the feeling. I'm lazy, is that what you said?
That's correct.
They may also say there are no downsides. They may say that, right? Using kids where you keep on crashing out, sure. Oh, so crashing out. So everything that I just typed, if I were to complete this entire course, those are the words that are kept. And those are the words that you're going to see when the youth finishes the program. They're going to have that in that screenshot, or they're going to do it in a PDF. So what we want them to do is to write something. And if they don't write anything in, you're not going to see anything. So if they leave it blank, then that's not going to work. If they do this kind of thing too, where they just play around, kind of that kind of stuff, that's not going to help, either. So you just need to let them know that there's some activities within the Healthy Futures. There's a handbook. It's going to be printed out. I'd like for you to take what you write in seriously. And if they make typos, it doesn't matter, but they need to engage with the material. Okay? So otherwise you're not going to have anything for the follow-up appointment with them. So the next slide is just based on content. So I'm just going to show you a couple of them just so that you can see what they look like. We also updated some videos as well. So I get to show you that.
Great work so far. Let's now move on to talking about your brain in greater detail.
Okay.
Your brain is awesome and full of potential. Click the number 1 to start revealing some of the amazing things your brain does for you.
So they get to click on the numbers and they get to read. So they're learning about the brain, helps you figure out what activities you enjoy, allows you to learn new things, helps you plan for the future, helps you make thoughtful choices, lets you put yourself in someone else's shoes, helps you become the person you want to be. So that's an example of an activity that they're doing within this.
Now let's quickly do a check-in. Consider the following statement. 9 out of 10 people who struggle with addiction started using substances before age 21. Do you think that this is true or false?
So what do you think they're going to say?
They could say either true or false,
So
depending on how much they paid attention.
So let's go for false. So you can see what happens. So they pick false and they're going to get that's incorrect. And so then for them to continue, they need to go to the next slide. So they have to pick the correct response. So the next slide.
Let's take a moment to talk a little bit more about nicotine and what it really is. Click the numbers on the screen to view some facts.
Okay, so then now we're going to look at number 1. Nicotine is found in the tobacco plant. Nicotine and now synthetic nicotine is in e-cigarettes, cigarettes, cigars, and other tobacco products. And number 3, nicotine is highly addictive. You can see that this has a very, you see like the little bouncing character and player and things like that. So it really does have a video game feel to it. And like I was saying earlier, this is an idea that one of the YAB came up with.
Now that we understand more about nicotine, let's explore how it affects the developing brain. One of its major effects is on the brain's reward pathway. Nicotine attaches to specific receptors and stimulates the release of various chemical messengers like dopamine, which can interfere with the brain's natural reward system. We'll dive deeper into this on the next slide. For now, click the numbered areas on the image to discover other ways nicotine impacts the brain.
So again, they're going to be clicking on these and learning about how nicotine affects the brain. So less control of emotions, worsens problem solving, slower processing, lower verbal comprehension, and poor memory. And then they're going to go on to the next slide.
As promised, we are going to dive a bit deeper into the brain's reward pathway. One of the key chemicals in this pathway is called dopamine. Dopamine causes you to experience pleasure. Your brain uses dopamine to teach your body what is good for you and what is important for survival. One of the main reasons that nicotine is harmful is that it mimics the structure of dopamine, causing its release. However, the release of dopamine here is not a real sense of happiness and can actually take over and be harmful. Click on the numbers to fill in each of the blank boxes.
So we're going to be learning about neurons. This is a dopamine, this is a neurotransmitter, and this is a receptor. So this is a way for them to learn about how the brain cells communicate with each other. And then the next slide.
Nicotine addiction can be visually represented as a 4-stage repeating cycle. You can spin the knob in the center of the screen to identify what these 4 stages in the cycle are.
Okay, so for this one, they're going to be turning this knob. So if they inhale the vape, this is what's going to happen. Nicotine is going to go to the brain. So they turn the knob, they're learning more about the cycle, the nicotine levels dropped. And then at least the craving then leads to more vaping. I'm going to see where I think the video is coming up, but let me see.
At this point, we know what nicotine is and how the brain develops during adolescence. I think we should take a more focused look at how nicotine plays a harmful role during this developmental period.
Okay, so I'm not going to start the video. So the point that I wanted to show you with the video is that they would need to watch the video. It continues, doesn't, you can't like click forward or anything like that. So they had to complete the video, and then at the end of the video, there was like a question, kind of like a knowledge check question based on what they just saw. And so this, oh, actually just did that. See what happens.
It's time for another check-in. Based on information provided in the previous video, which part of the brain is responsible for decision-making and impulse control? Please choose the correct answer.
I have to check that. It looks like a little glitch. So they just saw a video about the brain and addiction. What part of the brain is responsible for decision making and impulse control? So if they picked the spinal cord and it's incorrect, they're going to need to kind of keep clicking until they find the right answer, which is prefrontal cortex. And then the next slide.
Now, let's take things a step further and dive into the topic of drug dependency. It's worth repeating that nicotine is a highly addictive drug. The human brain can develop such a strong dependence on the drug that the person who using nicotine can no longer control their desire or smoking behaviors. Take a second to talk with the brain to learn more about what exactly it means to develop drug dependency.
Okay, so I'm going to stop here with the My Healthy Futures. So when we have a couple more slides until we would get to the end, and then the end is when they would do they would see that Healthy Futures handbook, and then they're going to be answering the two other questions that are pertaining to the brain, which is what I was saying before, is like a post test. So after they learn the content about their brain, but they're going to continue that process throughout all the different components of the 4 components. They're going to do that the entire time, and then that's what you're going to see at the very end with the PDF or that screenshot that I was talking about. Let's see. So let's look at the. Are there any questions about the My Healthy Futures before I kind of show you the Our Healthy Futures? So the Our Healthy Futures. So we have here is the 2 and the 4 hour, and again, this is doing group work, and we have slides in Spanish as well. And so if you click on the English for the 2 hour, which is I think what most schools do, you'll see the facilitator guide over here. I'm going to close all this other stuff so we don't get the wrong one. But the facilitator talking point here, this is for the Our Healthy Futures, the nicotine version. So here it's a little bit more in depth, especially when it comes to the facilitator, like who is going to be the person doing this program, and the kind of person that we're looking for, somebody who's empathetic, someone that's not going to be sarcastic, preachy, judgy. So that's not going to be helpful to the young person. So okay, you're welcome, Huntington. Take care. And then we have the implementation when working with groups. So considering the space, again, the size, the implementation, the duration, the equipment, all the things that you're going to need. And then the room setup, wanting to create a confidential, finding a space that's confidential, and then kind of have arrange it so that you could have a circle so that everybody can see each other. Once again, the data dashboard. This is similar to the My Healthy Futures, so kind of all the infographics and the different principles within the Healthy Futures. So we're going to get to the slides. I don't want to get you dizzy. And so here is where you're going to find all the talking points and the slides. And so what may be helpful if you're going to be doing this is you could print out the talking points so that you could have it handy, or you could have a second laptop, and then you could have that so you could see it while you're projecting the Our Healthy Future slides, because you can't see the notes when you're projecting the slides. So here is the pre and the post, and then everything you need is here. So we kind of tell you what you need, kind of even talking about how to have, acknowledging each student and responding with warmth and empathy as appropriate, having a teddy bear ready. So we have the teddy bear so that youth can learn to kind of take turns and listen to each other while they're in the circle. And so then we talk about program goals. So all of this is found in the slides, which is right here. So I'll show you that in a second. So here you're going to need the handbook. And so yes, it is double-sided and it does include all of the components, but all of that is what is going to be right here. Okay. And so worksheet 1, this is again kind of like your pre. So the very first time you meet with them when you do the very first component of the Our Healthy Future. So it kind of assesses where they're at with their substance use. And here's the motivational ruler and how ready are they. So that's for the beginning. And then here's the one at the end, which is exactly the same as the follow-up for the My Healthy Future, same exact sheet. So same kinds of questions that we saw earlier. And the cost calculator and all the putting tips, you saw that already. That was in the very beginning. And so here we click on the Canvas slides. And then I'll show you the notes. So the notes are right here. So this is exactly what you just saw in the facilitator guide. So your script is here. It's all ready to go. This is a pre-survey. We also have a link so that you can take it either. So they're going to need kind of like a Chromebook to do the survey. Or they could do it, the school allows it on their phones. And so the very first time we meet with them, we kind of greet everybody. How you doing? Do check-ins, acknowledge how they're feeling. So they're not going to probably feel too great because they were just found using and they got in trouble with, their parents and school and that kind of thing. So kind of like even acknowledging that as well. It's just all here to make the best of the situation, and hopefully, we all get to learn and grow together through this process. So community agreements, so always doing community agreements when you do group work. So this is restorative circles, community agreements, so having a teddy bear handy, so speaking with respect, listening with respect, speaking from the heart, respect the talking piece. So for them to really understand that they are taking turns and really listening to each other, honoring privacy and confidentiality, and remaining in the circle. So being present in the moment, keep making sure that everybody's really participating. And so then here is an explanation of what are the limits of confidentiality so that you have that handy and ready to go. And then we're going to talk about the goals of the program. And so here are the program goals, which is what you saw in the My Healthy Futures. So now we see this image of where you at. So this is your first cue that you're going to pass out the where you at. They're going to fill it out. You're going to review it with them. You're going to collect it, kind of hold it in a folder. We don't need this as well. And then we're going to talk about the topics. So these are the topics that we're going to talk about today. Then we have a bunch of warm-ups. So what do you like about vaping, using e-cigarettes? And what do you not like about vaping? And what do you think it means to be addicted? So we have everything here to have like that conversation with them. So, I'm curious to hear how vaping usually makes your brain feel. Who would like to share? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so now have your Healthy Futures handbook ready. And so they are doing their first check-in, which is the circle and the square. So of that handbook that I was showing you, they're going to answer those questions in their handbook. So they're going to fill it out. And once that is filled out, then we're going to discuss what they wrote later. And so then now we're going to kind of get into the content. So now the content is about the brain. So we're going to learn about the brain. What do you know about nicotine? So I'm going to kind of go a little fast, just looking at the time. Let's talk about the effects of nicotine. So all the talking points are over there to the side. So this looks very familiar, just like the My Healthy Futures. We talk about the developing brain. This is a new video that talks about drugs in the brain. So why waiting until full brain development is important. So this is a brand new video that we just developed. Talk about the reward pathway, which you saw earlier. And the same thing with dopamine. Talk about nicotine and the developing brain. What is the connection? This is another video that has to do with addiction in the brain. The cycle of nicotine addiction, even asking them, what their thoughts are about this. Talk about drug dependency. And we talk about tolerance. What is it that they've heard about it? What does it mean? What does withdrawal mean? Have they experienced withdrawal? Talk about tobacco use disorder. What is this? And then we're done. We're done with the brain. And so now you see the brain wrap up. And so now they're going to go back to their Healthy Futures handbook, and now they're going to fill out the triangle and that star, the questions. They're going to fill it out. And then you're going to gather all those materials and hold it for the next time that you meet with them. And then it'll be next week. And so the next week, then you start the whole process all over again. And then now this one is going to be on the body, and so on and forth and so forth. And so that's how the Our Healthy Futures works. Do you have any questions about it? Are you more likely to be using the My Healthy Futures or the Our Healthy Futures, you think?
For our work, it really just depends on the district's needs and their capacity.
Totally understand that. Well, so if there are no other questions, we have a post training survey, and I'll put my email here. So I'm happy to assist, help you with any questions that you may have about anything about the implementation of either one. I'd be happy to help. Also curious to hear how it goes for you, and would love to hear as well.
Well, thank you so much, Marcia, for spending some time with us this afternoon. I know it is late in the afternoon, everybody, so we do appreciate your attendance throughout this afternoon's webinar. And if there's no other questions, we're going to go ahead and stop the recording and end this call for the day.